So if you ever wonder what makes a great UX UI design portfolio, or you're about to create one, then this video is for you. First, the case study. You need to have a minimum of 4 case studies in your portfolio design. This shows that you have worked on a couple of projects. And among the 4 case studies which you have, one has to follow the design trend in tech or even follow the industry of the company you are applying for. Let's take, for example, you are applying for a fintech company. You have to have like a fintech case studies to show that you have some experience in the fintech company. Or when it has to do with design trend in the tech industry. For example, AI is a big thing right now. So you want to have a case study that talks about AI, and that will give you an edge over other designers. 2, you want to have an excellent case study for each of the case studies you have on your portfolio. Now, what are the elements of an excellent case study? 1, you need to clearly state out the problem which you are solving. This is very important for recruiters to understand what the problem that case study is looking at. How then did you solve it? What methodologies did you use in solving it? And how then did you come up with a solution? So your case study needs to clearly state out what the problem you are about to solve. 2, you need to show your process and the methodologies which you used in solving the problem. So if you end up using different research methods, let's say for interview or competitive analysis, let us know why you choose to use those research methodologies and how did they help you to gain insight into solving the problem statement. Now, the next thing you need to do is to explain how you validate your solution. This involves you using some testing tools like usability testing, A/B testing, or whatever testing tool you feel will be necessary to validate your solution. Recruiters want to see that you're able to test your solution and see the impact of your testing. Now, talking about impact of your testing, recruiters want to see the highlight of the impact with numbers. Take, for example, you revamped a sign-in process for a mobile app and you were able to reduce the time user takes to sign into the application from 5 minutes to 1 minute. These are great impacts that needs to be highlighted in your case studies. Recruiters want to know the impact of your design solution, and putting this out there will give them the knowledge that you understand what the problem is and you're able to create impact in solving that problem. Now, most of the things designers don't cover in their case studies, accessibility consideration. It's very important to consider this in your designs, whether it has to do with color contrasts or text-to-speech accessibility. Make sure you include what accessibility features you added in your app. This way, you let your recruiters or company know that you know the importance of accessibility in design. Now, another thing designers don't do is to display the mock-ups or the prototype of their design. Now, you have to display as much mock-ups as you can, provided you have the right to share those mock-ups. Go ahead and share all of these mock-ups. There are certain things recruiters look out for. What is the consistency across the different mock-ups in your design? They want to be sure that you understand the principles of design, the use of color hierarchy, the use of text hierarchy, the use of color mixtures, and all of that. So you have to share multiple screens for them to be able to understand what you have done visually in your mockups. Now, every case study usually ends with a reflection. What were you able to learn during the course of the project? And if you're given the opportunity to work on the project again, what are the things you think you could do better in the design? You have to state this clear to the recruiters so that they will really understand what are the things you missed out and you're considering adding in your next design phase. Talking about case study, let's quickly look at this case study and see if it match up with the elements I talked about. So the first thing I talked about is to clearly outline the problem which you're trying to solve. And if you see here, I have the challenge which I was trying to solve for this product, which is called Zenna. So you can access this. Just go to igenius.com/Zenna. You can see this. So talk about the challenge which you are trying to solve. Recruiters want to see this very fast and easy. Next, you want to show your process and your research method. So this is my process of getting started, and I have a timeline for this project. And I did some research which has to do with interview, personas, competitive analysis, flowchart, and I went on to start ideating solutions with the flowchart and as well the wireframes. So recruiters want to see your process of solving the problem. The next thing I talked about is validating your solution. So when you have a solution, how then do you validate it? And this is the part where I did usability testing. It's very important, like I mentioned earlier, you have to do your usability testing. Next, I talked about highlighting impact with numbers, like how was your solution impactful, and you want to show metrics or numbers to prove that. On this portfolio, I did not add those metrics. And this is a case study I did like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, thereabout. So if I'm going to work on this, I'm going to go through the metrics and understand what impact my solution has brought to this product design, and I'm going to outline that here. The next thing you want to also cover about accessibility consideration, which I talked about. Right here on this case study, I didn't have the accessibility consideration done, but during the design, I was able to check color contrast to make sure that it's contrasting well with the text, colors, and the background, but I didn't have that here. You want to also clearly state that on your portfolio so that your recruiters can see that you understand what accessibility design is all about. The next, I talked about displaying high mockups or prototypes. So if you look at this is a prototype which I have done, and I've added this through Figma prototype. So this will give the recruiter the access to check how these designs are and check the different screens in the design. But if you're not able to do this, you can just upload the pictures of your mockups here, and the designer or the recruiter can get to see the various designs and even understand how then do you play with the design principles, the UI design principles, the colors, the typography, and the rest of that, consistency, white spacing, and all of that. The recruiter will be able to see that on the portfolio or the mockup screens. Then the last thing I talked about is ending with a reflection, what you have learned and what you do differently the next time when you jump on the project. You could see challenges can be what I faced and what I learned from it. Then the next step is what I would do differently when I have the opportunity to work on this project. One of the things I mentioned is to set up tools like Hotjar to truly understand what the users are doing. That way I get to understand their usability experience while they're using the product, and if there's any usability pain point, I can easily just look at it and then provide a solution for it. So that is it about case study. So one of the things that designers don't do is to add a personal touch to their portfolio. So what are the hobbies you like doing? What do you do when you are not designing? These are the things recruiters will want to find out, because they're trying to match individuals that will match up to the company's culture. So make sure you put out your hobbies. If you like singing, put it out there. If you like playing games, put it out there. Now the last thing, every portfolio needs a better UX experience. You don't want to be a UX experience designer and your website is very difficult to navigate, or very difficult to find information, or loaded with a lot of graphics and animation that isn't necessary. So make sure you make your designs as simple as possible, easy to navigate. I don't say you should not do animations or graphic designs, but you should understand when it is extreme. Make your portfolio very clean, very easy to navigate, and focus on your problem solving skills. That's the most important things recruiters are looking at, how you solve problems. Now, which of these elements of your portfolio are you going to work on? Let me know in the comment section. And that is it for now. See you in the next video, and bye.